Well, hello today, YouTube land. This is Steve with Vassmotorsports, and today I am going to be starting back on my Stingray. This is the Stingray boat, my 207 XLS. It's a cuddy cabin boat. This is the one that got hit in Hurricane Ian last October, whenever it was. Thank God it didn't totally destroy it, but it did do damage to the boat, so now I'm going to be restoring it. I'll have a full playlist of videos coming up soon, and I'll be posting them as I go. I'll put them on the playlist, but stick around and check out the video. What we're going to be doing today is, I'm tired of using tarps on the boat. I've always had to use the tarps like this to cover it up, and it's just a pain in the butt, always tearing through and stuff like that. If the wind is blowing when you're trying to put it on, what a pain. I've always got it tied up, ropes all over, all that good stuff. But the point is, they don't last but about a season, and then they get tore. By the way, the light was to hold the center up. So this video is going to be on making a custom snap over trailerable cover. That's the other thing, is you can't trailer it with a tarp like this on it. So anyway, stick around, check out the video. Show you a little bit of the interior here. This is the one. I redone the back deck here and the seats and the side panels so I could install the speakers and everything. Did the lower panels. The only thing I didn't do was the captain's chairs, because they were in pretty good shape and I just didn't have the time. A year and a half or 2 years ago, whenever it was, I did this interior here. But that's why I'm making a cover, is I like to keep it covered up. I don't want that new interior getting ruined. Also, we're going to be doing these seats soon, so that'll be in another video. But this is my baby here, or one of them, and I'll tell you, this has been the one that's been around the longest, and I want to keep her in good shape. Alright, so I'm marking out where I want to put my new snaps, because as you can see, it does have them along the sides here in certain areas and all along the back here. That's made so you can put a full enclosure on if you want when the top is up, or if you want to make a mooring cover like this. But there's a couple spots on the sides here where it doesn't have it. So anywhere there is a graduation of, or elevation, I guess you'd say it, or something like that, whatever the term is, wherever there is an angle, you want to go ahead and have a snap there where it's going to change angles. And this is probably going to be good enough. I'm trying to keep them around 8 inches apart. They already had one here, which I may use, I may not, but I have to have one here where the ledge is and the turn down. And then I just tried to put one in the middle of those. Then as you can see, there's a little angle here, so it's moving up and then it levels back out. So I started here. I'm putting them around every 8 inches down the side here in a nice straight line. I'm not going to use these up here. Like I said, that's for isinglass, or some people will use that for a mooring cover, but I don't like that. I want these windows closed and blocked off. So I got them coming all. Alright, so I climbed up and I put my piece across here. I do have them every 6 inches, and did that side. Now I just got to tape off my middle and figure out where I'm putting those. Alright, so I just went down through there and drilled them all, as far as just chamfering the top of the hole is all, because on most fiberglass, if you try to just screw a screw right into it, you're going to crack this the surface here. The gel coat, you're going to have cracks and spider webbing going on. So now I'll just take and pull the tape away. I've got all my little spots already chamfered and ready to go, so I can take this tape off all the way down the side. Got all my holes pilot holes ready. We'll call them pilot holes. And now I can just go down through here and zip them in. Alright, got that side done. Moving on over to the other side. Now today I come out and I'm making the actual cover. And what I did was I bought a roll of this. It's a coated canvas. Sometimes I'd use like Sombrella, but that's pretty heavy and it's not really that waterproof. It is water resistant, but this stuff's actually waterproof and it's a lot lighter material. It's strong, but it's a lot lighter, and it's actually, I'm not sure if you could tell on the camera, but it's two different sides. This side is kind of a rubber coating on it. That's like, I guess that's where the spray is, but this is more of a canvas material look. So we'll have this as the outside, and that way this stays protected from the sun, but we'll still have it waterproofed. What I'm doing is I'm cutting the edges to seal them. I'm just using you can buy these blades online. They sell an actual little tool that you use. They're pretty expensive, so I just rigged mine up into a regular soldering gun. I just picked that up at Harbor Freight pretty cheap. So I trim the edge here, and what that does, it keeps it sealed, and that way it doesn't fray when the wind and stuff is blowing. But we're going to sew these two together. I marked out, checked out there, measured it from front of the windshield all the way back. It's about 11.5 foot, so I cut two of these 12 foot. Now I got to sew them together, so it's going to have a seam down the middle to make it wide enough for the boat. Next, I'm going to go ahead and change out my thread to the blue. That way it'll match the cover here. I already got some made up for my bobbin. Stick that on the bottom here. And I got my new, well not new, but I got my roll here. Just roll it up over the edge. Ready for this, Jasper? Oh, you're ready. Do a little reversing at the beginning to lock it. Just walk it right on down through there. Take a look and make sure. I like how it's coming out top and bottom, my tension. It looks pretty good. Looks good from here. Bet it looks good from y'all's angle, don't it?
Looks good from here.
Looks good at home, don't it, y'all? So I brought my cover out. Now what I'm doing is I bought these. You can get these in little packs from Sailrite. And so you can go around and snap these on, and what this will do is it'll allow me to pull the material tight and stick it over this, and it'll hold it in place while I'm doing a fitment. It comes with these little caps if you want to lock them on the end after you slip the material over it. It comes with a little tool, so it helps you to pop them on if you need to, and then pop them off when you're done. But those are very handy. These are something good to have when you're doing tops like this. So you don't have to have it on every one down through here. I just got a couple spread out down the side here, couple up on the windshield, and all it's going to do is, like I said, it'll allow me to pull the cover into place and slip it over them, and it'll hold it while I take the chalk and do my outline where I need to cut everything. So like I say, it just allows you to push the material right through these pins, and now they'll hold it. I can keep going around, and I'll be able to push it on that one on the end, and it'll hold it in place while I go outside and go down the other end and pull it down tight. Alright, so you can kind of see how well these snap things work. They're holding the cover in place right now until I can go around and make sure exactly how I want to make the cover. I'm kind of making it as I go type of thing. It's how these work. And Even got them up front here. They're holding it nice and snug. So that gives me a chance to go ahead and figure out exactly how I'm going to make it. And then, like I said, I can grab the chalk and mark off where I want to make my cuts for the seams. Alright, so that gives me the ability to come up here and make a chalk line where I want it. I'm leaving about 3/4 of an inch or more from the top here. Now I just got a scrap piece of clear plastic laid out and taped in this spot into place. I've got it stuck over these snaps. I made some match-up marks, so now I can see through to my chalk line, and what I'm going to do is take a Sharpie and I'll be able to go through here and trace this chalk line even down the side, and then I'll be able to take this in, put it on top of the new material and trace it as my pattern, and be able to leave another 1/2 inch over where I draw the line and where I cut this piece of plastic out. I'll just leave an extra 1/2 inch. That way there'll be something to sew together here. I've got my windshield pattern laid out on the material. So pretty much I'm just going to go along, and I've got the yardstick on there to help hold it down. Through some scissors, tape, whatever, just to hold it down. Now this one's not got to be as important as like if I'm doing seat covers, or even if I was doing a full enclosure or a bimini top or some of that nature. I'd want that to be a little more accurate. This is just a cover, so I can get away with using scrap like this. Now I just want to go along and do about a 1/2 inch line out here. I'm going to go all the way around the whole border of this and do a 1/2 inch. And then I'll come back with my heat knife, the soldering gun, and trim the whole thing out. Also, do not forget your match marks. This is where I had the match marks. Put your match marks on. We're going to transfer that over, and that way when I'm sewing this piece, the windshield piece, to the other part at the top, then it'll lay on and be nice and conform to all the angles. Okay, we're going to cut this out. Just get it good and hot. Just go right down the line like that. Also, as I'm cutting with this, you want to be on something you don't really care about, or on top of metal or glass, preferably glass, I would say, because if you're on metal, that's going to rob some of the heat from your blade. And so anyway, I'm not worried about this particular piece of wood. I can flip the whole table over. It's just a piece of sheet of wood that I've got laying on top of some sawhorses. So when I do the actual finished products or vinyl or anything like that for the seats, I just flip it over to the good side. So I carried my front windshield piece back out here and figured I would do a little checkup real quick before I go taking the main cover inside and sewing, and I'm glad I did, because I see a couple little adjustments I can make. My match marks lined up. I did pull the caps off and stick it on those over these little studs to hold it in place. Match mark looking good there. Had it marked here already on the corner edge of the windshield where it wraps. Alright, so I got my windshield piece ready. I went back and trimmed this the way I needed to. This is the main part of the cover. This is the center of my cover. Now I've got them both facing upwards right now, so I want to flip this one over upside down so they are face to face on the materials. Now whenever I have something this big or small, it doesn't really matter to me, when it's got match up marks and then you have curvature at the ends, I'm going to start in the middle. And what I'll do is I'll get my match up marks here. I'm going to slide this over and I will put them both right there matched up. And then I'll take this and spread it over, double check my other match mark, So I don't have to start quite in the middle, but I'm going to start right here on this match mark. And what I'll do is I'm going to run all the way down this seam to the very end, and then I'll flip the whole entire thing over and do the other half. So let me go ahead and get my gauge set up. Put it right there. It's about a 1/2 inch or a little more, and that's good. I'll leave that right there, and let's get started. I went ahead and did my top stitch here. So now it's like the seam. You do your original stitch down there, flip it under the material underneath, and then when you sew your second stitch here, what it's doing is it's making it super strong. Here goes all that was the original, and then the material flips over and you're sewing through that too. So there's double layers here, plus this material is 3 layers thick. So it just makes it a lot stronger and a lot less chance of it leaking any water dripping through. I went along and I marked everywhere that I had a little hole through the top. I marked it with chalk. So I have all the other ones set right back where they originally were. And then I came up front here. I took them off the top because I don't want to put any more holes through the top there. There are no holes now. They're covered, so there won't be any leaks. But we're snapping down here now. So I pulled the cover nice and tight to try to get all the wrinkle and stuff out of it that I could. This stuff has a little bit of stretch to it, a little amount of stretch. So anyway, it lined up pretty nicely with my seam right on top of the windshield where I wanted it. So that's good. Then I stretched it on down and I moved my little snaps down here with the pin on them. Now be careful with these. That's another reason they put those black caps if you want to use them, because if you go kneeling on this or put your hand on it or something by an accident, it's going through. So be careful with that. Everything lined up over here the way I wanted it and wrapped nice. It's nice and snug through here. That wrinkle I'm not worried about because it's going to get cut off down there. Here's one of the little snap pins here. And now I can go around, pull this nice and tight, and here goes one of my snaps under the thing. I'm going to take my chalk and mark these snaps. Pull it nice and tight, mark it, and then that way when I take it inside, I can use my yardstick to trim wherever I need to get rid of the excess. And then I'll be able to, I'm going to sew some vinyl on the inside to give it some support for when I put the snaps through. Same with anywhere that there's something that's going to rub, like this whole top section is going to get vinyl sewn on the inside down these edges, because I don't want it to tear through as it's flapping and stuff when you're driving. Thank you, Jasper. Thank you so much, buddy. He's straightening out the material so I can go ahead and sew this binding on. What I did was I'm going to go ahead and do the section under the windshield on the front of the boat, and that way I can go ahead and just finish that area and put the snaps and everything on it. Snap it under the window, pull it all back across the boat like I had it nice, and then I can mark and do everything on the rest of it. But I want to get that front section around the windshield because that's the most important part. So what I did was I trimmed everything down. I went ahead and cut some vinyl like you'd use on the seats. I sewn that on the inside here all the way around where the snaps are going to go through. That's reinforcement for the snaps. Now what I'm going to do is I've got this blue binding, and you pretty much just fold it like this and sew it on. And I have an actual binder attachment that I can screw onto the machine right here to self feed it through, but I'm probably just going to do it by hand. I did go ahead and grab my binder. I got the 1-inch binder from Sailrite. Tell you what, if anybody's interested in doing actual sewing and upholstery work, stuff like that, Sailrite is a good company to have the name to, because you may need to even watch some of their videos or order some of their supplies. They can be a little costly on some things, but they got very good quality. So anyway, what it's doing is this is feeding the binding through, and then all I have to do is more or less keep the edge of this in, pushed in, and then you can see what it's doing here. It's sewing this nice binding onto the outside. So we have a finished look, and it's protected and gives a little more strength, gives it a little body to it. And then, like I said, this vinyl is for the actual reinforcement for the snaps, so they don't just rip through. That's it. Sew that binding. That's the way you do it. Alright, so I left this part of the binding unstitched because now I'm going to take the hot knife and go ahead and finish the rest of this off, cut it off, and then I'm going to continue sewing my vinyl like this on the inside for the reinforcement for the snaps. And then I'll be able to take this new binding and stick it inside here and then sew them together, and you won't even notice. And it'll continue down through here, and I can put my snaps. And this is the chalk line of the windshield itself, and it's a pretty sharp turn, so I'm going to be sewing some vinyl reinforcement inside there because I don't want it to tear into the actual cover. So let me get busy on that. Jasper, helping me out, ain't you? Good boy. You're a good puppy. So now I got some more strips of vinyl cut. I'm going to go ahead and sew them along the edge here, and then we'll come back and do the binding. This is what's nice about the swing way binder. You just swing it out of the way. Now I've got room, I can go ahead and sew this stuff on without removing the binder. So now we're going to go ahead and sew some more on. What I'm doing is I'm starting back about an inch or two on top of the other thread. I'm still going to lock it in. You don't always have to lock it when you're going on top of already existing thread. Pull this binder out of the way. Make sure your edge is straight. And then I'm just going to butt these together and run right over onto it. Then just follow this edge, make sure it stays nice. What is it, Jasper? What is it, boy? Hey, puppy. He's such a good puppy. Alright, today I just wanted to say I love my little Jasper, y'all. He is the best dog I could ever ask for. This is little Jasper. He's my buddy. He goes everywhere I go, does everything I do, and I'm being serious about that, y'all. So, thank you, Jasper, for being such a good little friend. Miniature pincher, Jasper the Crazy Man Pin, and they don't get any better than this one, I'm telling you. He is so spoiled, got such a good attitude, and just he's so good around people, and I can take him in any stores or go anywhere I go. He goes to eat with me and everything we do, he does it with me. So anyway, y'all want to check out some videos, I'll put a little link here. I got a little playlist made up on my channel. It's got a lot of videos with us exploring. We go to different places with the boat in Florida, here in South Carolina with some of the most beautiful lakes. And he's definitely got his sea legs. And it doesn't matter what it is. He wants to ride on anything I go on. You know, if it's got a motor and I'm riding it, he wants to go. So Y'all have a good day and check out some of them videos. It might make you laugh. Jasper! See, Jasper even helps me out here in the shop. I really like using the wood burning tool because it cauterizes the edging kind of like the hot knife does when you're cutting the edges so it doesn't fray. Well, it's the same effect when you're using this. It's not like a hole puncher or a leather punch or something. This actually burns the hole, and when you stick it in, it's almost a perfect size. Just give it a little wiggle like that when it's in the hole, and it's perfect for the snaps. And then that way, like I said, it's actually cauterized and ready to go. It won't fray or spread. And installing the snaps. It's gonna be nice, y'all. Check her out. All right, I got her all finished up. It's how she fits, nice and tight. Got her sealed up nice and protected from the weather, waterproof. And all the snaps fit good. These are actually patches of vinyl on the inside that I sewed. They're big patches back here because this particular one, the top lays down across the sun pad, and I don't want it, you know, there's a lot of stuff trying to stick through here. We don't want it wearing through. So it's got reinforcements all on any of the edges where there's anything kind of sharp up through there. Got them on the corners here, across the top. I love how it comes all the way down and covers the windshield, covers everything to where no sun can get in to the interior. That's how you make a nice custom boat cover, y'all. Trailerable. I pulled it home yesterday running 70, no issues at all. You couldn't even see anything back there flapping. So anyway, if you like what you've seen here and you want to follow the progress on the good old Stingray, because this is the one that was Hurricane Ian stricken, I will be restoring the boat. So you can follow along. I'm sure I'll make a playlist. But if you don't mind, if you like what you've seen, hit that like. Maybe subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along. And even hit that little bell notification. That way you'll know when I throw on new videos. Thanks a lot, y'all, and have a blessed day. This is Steve with Vassmotorsports, and we are tuning out.